Amazing. Warmly welcome to Speak Up Monday. My name is Natalie, and tonight I will be your host. And with me, with us, we have this incredible woman, Arie, that you will get to meet in just a little bit. But before we get going, let me introduce the topic for tonight. So we will dive deep into the story of this powerful woman, and the topic for this evening is East meets West, a modern Balinese woman's journey to empowerment. So that's what we can expect. And well, my biggest challenge here is to try to stay on time because this woman has an incredible story, and I can guarantee you that you will feel inspired, you will feel empowered by really tuning into what Arie has to say. And as always, we'll have like 90 minutes together, and we will invite you at the end of the class to ask your questions and just be part of the conversation. And same thing for you who are watching live, of course, just enjoy, sit down, and we'll get going. Okay, so next to me, I have Arie, and I'm going to ask you to actually introduce yourself. Who are you?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Robert, for the opportunity, and thank you all my friends and my team here. My name is Niluh Arie Ratna Sukasari. I'm Balinese. By birth, I'm a dragon. Aries, if you check my birth, Aries, the goddess of war, everything. So water and metal and water is my element. So that's what I'm walking through that. And also, I'm from Canggu. My mom's from Jogja. I was born in Jogja, and I've spent half of my life overseas. Now I'm nearly 21 in Hex. So every day I learn. I come back now to my village, and I know what I want to do in my village and how I can impact and contribute to Bali.
Okay, so that's a beautiful introduction. So I'm born and raised in Sweden. So the topic is, again, East meets West. And I've been living here in Bali. I've been blessed to call Bali my home for the last 5 years. And for everyone who is here, or you who are watching, who have ever been to Bali, knows that this beautiful island has so much magic. And the big part of why it's so much magic is Balinese people, culture, spirituality. I could keep on going, but this will be a very interesting topic to dive deeper into together, because someone who's coming from the West, combined with Arie, who spent many years abroad, how can we find a bridge and learn the best possible from both our worlds? Because it's all about unity. It's really about one world. It's not separate worlds. And here we have the perfect example of someone who left Bali to go abroad. And I know that you have been coming back with you, and you've gained so much knowledge and wisdom. And for us who are here as well, we want to learn more about your perspectives. So we will speak more about empowerment and what that really truly means from a Balinese woman perspective, but also with a global approach. So on that note, take us back, because right now we see you, successful businesswoman sitting here, and as we all know, we all come with a journey. There's a story that goes into everything. So I've had the privilege to sit down with Arie and learn more, and now you're going to be able to get that same nuggets of wisdom that I've been getting. So I know that you were young. You were 15 years old when you left Bali, yeah?
Correct, yes. I was 15. I got a scholarship for exchange student. Back then, that is quite popular, going overseas for scholarship, for high school or university. In hindsight, yes, probably too young. But that's the opportunity being given, and it has enriched my life. Going to the West, and I see a lot of things from the West, as now I'm going back to the East. So East meets West, everything in paradox. When there is East, there is West. So I am trying to use my knowledge that I have gained in the West. For example, logical and reason. That's what I get from the UK. To apply that to Bali, where everything is narrative in Bali, thing can be explained in narrative, and combine that and have a holistic solution, especially now it's globalized world. It's the challenge is not only for Balinese or anywhere in part of the world, it's how we actually become a global harmony and peaceful earth. So we have to combine between East and West. And also personally for me is life is paradox. You see, I used to take computing science when I was at university, so life to me is 1-0. So that's also in line with Balinese yin and yang, seen and unseen, matter antimatter, good and bad. Everything in one paradox for me. So it's good for us to learn about the West, about the logical and like a reason, and whereas in Bali it's about narrative. And hopefully by me, I understand the thought processing of the West, I could help in Bali and bridging to a better island, better country. By the way, I'm wearing red and white tonight. This is our national color. Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Red is my blood, the white is the peacefulness, the holiness. Okay.
And that's something that's so beautiful in Bali. When you are here, you will learn that there is a symbol and meaning to everything. I never end up getting inspired by the wisdom that I get when I interact with Balinese people. It's just so much wisdom in this culture. So going back to the fact that you're actually sitting here today, I know, and you are here probably understand that we have an entrepreneurial spirit sitting here. So share with us, how old were you when you kind of started your first business?
Yeah, I started my first business when I was 8. I have always the entrepreneur spirit with me because as a Balinese woman, I'm free to do whatever I want to do. I know my parents going to give me education. That's about it because I know I'm not going to get the inheritance. Well, I didn't expect that. So I know from a young age I could create whatever I want to do, and I'm an entrepreneur anyway. So I have my dad has a shop, so I get somewhere cheap and I sell it in my dad's shop, and I get everyone in my house to cook, and put it in my dad's shop, and then every time I call like, oh, how many actually sold? Those type of business entrepreneur spirit that I have, and I also realize that business is about being bothered. If you bother to do it, then 50% of the chances you will be successful. If you don't bother to do it, then you're not going to be successful. So every time I see something, a niche, business also seeing a niche, then I actually try to apply that. Whichever business work, whichever business stick, that's what I'm trying to do. So remember, for me, it's business about being bothered. That's very much my fundamental values that I have to try different businesses. Yes.
Well, this woman is and have a very powerful brand. And as I was asking her, you tell me a little bit about yourself and the businesses that you've been creating, that you've been part of. It's a lot, and it's quite a big variation as well. But I feel, as I've been getting to know you better, everything goes back to your core values and what you feel matters most to you. And I know you've said that you aim to be a blessing for others, which I think isn't that a beautiful thing to say? Because it's not just said because it's beautiful. I know that you've said that and share it from a place of intention and heart. So share with us, what does that mean with Sari's word, being a blessing to others? How can you be that, and how can we learn from your philosophy?
Well, actually, the value is coming from my mom, actually. She said to me, as human, we live our values. So it's important that we, for me, my life is knowing who I am. Since very early age, I know who I am, where I want to be, what's my mission in life, going back to Bali. Even the UK is nice, apart from the weather, but I always want to go to Bali. And actually, because of my mom, how I make an impact to life, to the world, especially I have kids, how I'm going to pass down my values, because as human, it's our values that we live. Money can go overnight, but our values will never die. And we got those values as well from different generation of like millennia. How many thousand of years this civilization, like 5 millennia, we have those values. And for us, it's actually to add those values to the values of humanity. That's the answer, I guess.
Well, we could dive deeper and we will. So it's interesting. Going back, we have an 8-year-old girl who starts her first business. And when I asked you about that, you said, do you remember how we were feeling? And one of the first things you said was like, it was exciting, which says so much about your personality. And what would you say then, that mindset in that 8-year-old version of you as a girl, what has been the most important ingredients? Going back to the first time when you were 8 years old and kind of got into this entrepreneurship, and from then obviously things have been expanding massively here in Bali, but also globally.
Yeah, I like to read magazine or books. My mom is a law professor at the Udayana University, so seeing her reading thick books is quite normal. And then also magazine like the Tempo magazine and then the Compass. So it's at early age, I like those intellectual reading, deep reading. And still now, I'm quite boring actually as a person because I like to read many in-depth reading. And from that, I read many successful people who has businesses. And actually, I wrote to them, back then there is no Facebook, Instagram, but there is pen pal. So I wrote to them like, what's your secret to success? How do you get to Harvard Business School? And I get a call. Who are you? Yes, I want to know your secret of success. So for me, it's about to get mentor. Later on in my life, I have someone inspire me. You need to have mentor in your life. I have like 5 mentors that actually, when I don't know the answer, I just have a coffee with them and just get the answer, not saying the subject or the object, just get the general answer, and also help people as well. If anyone have problems, I also help. So if anything, my passion is help people with problem solving. See, sometimes we plan to be someone. Maybe when I was younger, I want to be like a movie star, but I end up to be here, a star at SpeakUp Monday. Starting with
that's
Robert.
Quite good as well.
You look like a movie star.
Yes.
But sometimes as human, we plan to a destination you end up to be, but always plan, because there is a notion in UK, Robert, plan to fail, fail to plan. Is it correct?
Yeah, fail to plan, yes.
Yeah. So I got so many notions when I used to live in the UK. Because understanding a language, English language, then I'll be able to understand the thought processing. See, I can speak Javanese and Balinese and Indonesian. So when I'm speaking Indonesian, I think like Indonesian. I put the UK aside. But I'm speaking Balinese, I think like Balinese. Where I have to put myself, because there's layer of language, the caste, and also the ancestor heritage that I have to understand. Maybe if we translate it, it's a bit cryptic. But as Balinese, I think like Balinese or Javanese, Yogyakarta especially, because my mom is from Yogyakarta. So I learned the different type of richness in thoughts and also human brain capacity. It's like everything is in the mind. So we can change our life if we just believe in yourself. So as Balinese, I'm not only walk in my life, but I have my ancestors walk with me, plus the universe. So I have to walk with those power to have everyday life. Yes, I'm nervous right now.
You cannot tell. You're just like this firehouse of energy and power and passion, and we can all feel it, yes? Yes! Wow, yes. Wow, so there is so much we can dive deeper into here. First of all, I think we all can tell that we're speaking about a specific mindset here. Someone, imagine an 8-year-old girl that has the capacity of thinking with a curious mind to reach out for mentors, look into other people who created some kind of success that inspires us. That's one thing. And you also said, and you have been saying many important things, self-belief. So on a scale 1 to 10, how important would you say that your level of self-belief within yourself about your capability to create what you want to create has been?
Number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2 is it's all in the mind. Number 3 is be kind, to people, to the universe. So I believe everything comes in threes, the Holy Trinity, Triheta Karana. So those are my 3 values. I'll make it in threes. That's my rule of 3. Anyone that have rule of 3s here? So it's not only me, just Robert, and then you rule couple 3s or 2?
Tell us more about that. So everybody here that's sitting in the audience actually understand, and for you who are watching live, tell us more about this beautiful and powerful philosophy.
The rule of 3s?
Yes.
I think that's just the blueprint anyway, because like the Holy Trinity, the Holy Father, the Son.
Yeah,
and
but from a
Holy
Balinese perspective. I know, Robert, you speak about this all the time, but what you just shared, can you expand on that?
Karana.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's, and then also if you see the Bali colors, it's like a red, black and white. So yeah, everything is in threes.
Yeah.
So I don't want to know why it's in 3. I just take it like it's in threes anyway. It's in my DNA. So that's the value, looking after ourselves, our community, and also the environment as well. Mm-hmm.
So speaking about East meets West, and how we really can learn from each other, because I know that you've shared that you learned so much the years you spent abroad, but there was also a lot of things that you felt were missing there. So for example, going back to the conversation about spirituality, and you're speaking about higher power and really trusting ancestors and honoring that cultural heritage as well. What was your biggest challenge when you went to the West? I know that you've been living in the States, you've been in the UK, and going there in the business world, embarking on that path with your strong belief systems from Balinese culture, what was the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge is culture shock.
Culture shock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just culture shock when I was in USA and then in the UK too. It's quite different. I was quite lucky. Wherever I go, there is always beautiful people that embrace me. So I come to the conclusion, it's not right, it's not wrong, it's just different. But stay away from troubles and try to inspire. I'm not going to change, but lead by examples and try to inspire them about my culture. I used to, at my youngest age, I could dance. When there is a culture night, I dance Balinese dance as well. And trying to enlighten them about Bali. And then just show what Bali is. Like I got the reaction about the lush greenery of Bali, and the reaction is must be a lot of mosquitoes there. It's like
well, what else?
Yeah, and also the temples, there is no proof of God. And then I say, okay, I just say, wouldn't you not be naive not to think there is higher being? And also speak to the language they understand. Not just saying like the Balinese way, but speak to the language they understand. Like, would you not think there's a higher being? Would you be naive not to? And also, our brain capacity is so limited as human. So we cannot understood a lot of things anyway to start with. Isn't that the mystery of actually being in this world? Something that, from the UK as well, from Sherlock Holmes, anything possible, something impossible become possible. Whatever probable is the truth. So when they come to Bali, and then they see it, like, we'll be able to read the nature by feeling it, and have holistic approach of how life in Bali, and how we try to combine between to balance things. Like, for example, Balinese food, we also always have like a sauce, like a watery sauce. That's like our yin and yang in the food. Not everything dry, but we combine that. That's make who we are as people as well. But I do respect, like, they have their own way of living, and the spirituality is there. However, I think there is the enlightenment period where they have the logical and more, but it's coming back actually, because enlightenment is like 300 years, isn't it, Robert? Yeah, but the spirituality has been there for what, thousands of years. It is coming back with vengeance. Yeah, because we need to understand who we are, and then the spirituality of us and who is before us. That's for me, spirituality is a way to be a better person. And just see, like, I'm not walking in this life alone. There is a spirit of my ancestor behind me that guide me. I think that's how I live my life.
That sounds and is a very powerful way of living. And is this on?
Yeah, it's on.
Huh.
Yeah, it's on.
Of living and being. And I think we had a conversation before, and we ended up speaking about, is there a kind of starvation of spirituality in the West? If you're nodding here, and we had that conversation, and what's then possible when, what you said there, when we can actually tap into the essence of who we truly are. Can it be something else, something more than just logic and reason? Having said that, logic and reason, of course, super important as well. So it's not about excluding one thing. It's about, like what you're talking about here all the time, balance. And obviously balance is such a huge thing in Balinese culture as well. And I know that we could spend episodes speaking about how that is represented into Balinese culture. So if we would flip that, I know you said you got challenged by that, it was a culture shock, of course. Then though, on the other hand, coming back to Bali, bringing the skills and gifts and talents from your time abroad, what would you say are your biggest takeaways from the years that you were living abroad? Because I know, obviously, speaking about, we are our own stories, and the impact of every single ingredient of it, like the blend that you are today because of the years that you spent abroad. What would you say are your unique skills, gifts, and talents that's coming because of the time you actually spent abroad, getting to interact with Western culture for such a long time in your life?
I have planned my life. My father used to say to me, on your 20s, you work with someone. And then, which I did. And then start my business in my late 20s. And then, but I have planned. I will be back home. I'm sorry, but not being biased, I'm from Bali, so naturally, I want to be back home because Bali is just far there. So I was back home, and I want to apply all the takeaway I have from the Western world. For example, the mechanism of business, and also marketing, and then how to apply the business accruements. And also the charitable natures of what I found in the UK as well. People really help through charities. That's what I want to apply in Bali. And along the way, I know I want to work with vulnerable women and children. And there is this organization called BIWA, Bali International Women Association. It's the oldest organization in Bali. I was involved with that because I want to help vulnerable women and children. My mom used to have a foundation as well for women, to help women and children. So I wanted to do that as well. So I was active in that organization. We help many women and children in Bali, and still going on now. I was president for 4 years. and where I apply what I have learned in the UK. For example, all these meetings, agenda, and be able to touch base with international community in Bali as well. And then I apply to my business. I have a villa management business, which is fun, quite successful at that time. And then also starting my family. I have 4 children, so I have up to Ketut now. It's only possible in Bali to raise children, because imagine raising in the UK, Robert, it'll be just gonna take ages even to put the coat, to go to the mall. But in Bali, like, everyone loves children. Like, even though you have an older person, when they have a small kid, their eyes lit up. Kids are good, so I have 4 of them. Why not? Because I have the whole street and family looking after it. I feel safe. This is like, I have to have up to Ketut. That's like, the blueprint, So I have 4. And then I have my children. And then I was just so happy. And people asking me, especially from overseas, how do you have 4 children? Well, that's easy. You just have to, how your body cope. Well, that's easy too. I don't know. I'm just like, you just don't think about it, And your time is relative. You can fit as much as possible. You can fit less as possible. It's up to you how you actually manage the time. Actually, having a lot of children is good, so I recommend to have 4 children, because they're an entity. So there is like this notion of 4 children, but there is a reason for everything. So, and then after that, during COVID, through a stroke of event, I think is the ancestor calling. My ancestor asking me to go back to my village here, not very far from here. So where I'm responsible of a foundation called Duta Bina Buana Foundation. The foundation has been there from 97. The mission of the foundation is to educate and empower. And I was tasked by my mom. See, when your mom is calling you, you have no choice but to, okay, mom, yes, you doing that? Okay, I drop everything. Your mom is, so yes, to be blessing to many people. So when I started to chair that foundation, I created a few things. One of them is the People Law Center. My mom is a law professor. I see she has a lot of students, lawyer, notaries coming to her office. So in the UK, there is something like Citizen Advice Bureau where anyone can just walk in. In Bali, there is like similar like that. However, different grassroots level is different efficiency. So I said that I want to create the People Law Center, not necessarily litigating, but anyone can just walk in with any information regarding the law, because it's important to know about the law. I mean, there is a maxim in the UK, ignorance of law is no excuse at the law. So law is power. So I created that, which is now is Center of Legal Excellence as well, because we have now internship students that intern at the center as well. No, I didn't create that. It's the whole foundation with my mom, with everyone that helped through the process as well. And also, I created Srikandi Justice for domestic violence. To cut long story short, it happened to me. I didn't expect that. It was an eye-opening. I'm lucky because I have a family and also education and also resources to get out that situation. So I want to create something to help vulnerable women and children, because I knew that other women is not that lucky probably for me. So we created that for domestic violence awareness, because woman is very important. Woman is the one who nurture, and woman also make sure the kids are fine. So, and also it's important for the son and the daughter to break the chains of those type of behaviors. So we are trying to give awareness. And also at the center, there is also a school from elementary school, from daycare to elementary school. And I realized when I was in UK, it's about reading. I mean, maths is important, yes, but reading opened a lot of doors to not only the knowledge of these centuries, but we are able to understand different century, even millennia, through reading. For me, reading is important. So in my school, I'm trying to foster reading, because nowadays the Insta reading, success. I had my mom role model. She have this thick book, like law book, like so thick, So for me, it's natural. However, people need to be nurtured as well. Going back to reading, mathematics is good, but I think reading is very important as well.
So what would you say when it comes to education? Because I think we all can tell that you are very passionate about education and how that actually can empower people, not only women, men, people here in Bali and well beyond. So what would you say, with your perspective, bringing more education into school? Because I know also you have a very holistic approach to teaching. What are the fundamental ingredients that you would love to see more in schools, well, in Indonesia, but also globally? Would you want to share a little bit about that?
And also, one back the question, what to educate? Because, during the COVID, we think we educate the generation with this set of values. But I realized it from the university. What I learned in the university, now I'm nearly 21, by the way, no one knows my real age. Basically, the university gave me tools of life. That's what we need to teach the children about how they actually articulate themselves, speaking in public, and believe in themselves. Those, I think, the ingredients are probably not there, because it's not easy to quantify how to mark those, and also able to see situation, able to feel how the natures. So some of the approaches, being in Bali especially, we can add the wisdom of our Balinese ancestors and values to the education to navigate this global world, to navigate the Bali and East and West. Having said that as well, there are a lot of wisdom around the world, and also Bali hasn't been represented around the world because of the language barrier. You see, Wikipedia, for example, is all populated by people who speak English, better able to market their idea and thoughts. But there is also many values that we can put that to the world stage. I'm just saying, put more in Wikipedia too tonight, So there's a lot of Balinese wisdom, Indonesian wisdom about humility, being humble, the Tantra, balance between man and woman. Everyone have an important role in this whole change. Sometimes, in my perspective, in the world history that I read, a lot of them are written by men.
So let's speak a little bit more about this. Okay. So everything is super interesting that you're sharing. And can we imagine if we would live in a world where we would have, of course, education, like you said, is so important for empowerment and for, well, all things in world, basically. But also if we would apply a more holistic approach. So yeah, we do learn things such as math and science and all those things, the basics that we already have in our system. Fantastic. And what we're talking about here, you said something about a toolbox where we're actually speaking about communication skills, learning emotional resilience, learning about spirituality, learning about culture beyond borders. And it's not about, one place being better than another. It's actually about merging, because that's what we're speaking about here, East, West, and how we can learn and get empowered and inspired by each other. So
Indeed.
What would you say, because I know empowerment is a very important word for you as well, and we had a big conversation about this topic. So how would you define empowerment That's the first one, and we will tie that into if we would have a bigger sense of self-empowerment, and let's start with the Balinese perspective. What does that create? What kind of possibilities does bigger sense of self-empowerment mean?
Well, empowerment as a word alone, if I believe that life is a paradox, so someone being empowered and someone being disempowered. So it cannot just stop in empowerment, about self-empowerment and empowering others. So that's like the whole, the whole maxim, I would say. So being in Balinese is about karma. Karma that we give ourselves and our community. What we plant is what we harvest. So there is no point of trying to cut corners or anything, because if we just empower ourselves and forgetting people around us, then that's not going to work. Because as human being, what makes us human? Because we live in a community. I'm sure we can live in 3 houses, but that's not the purpose of being human. Human is about community. Sometimes that's probably in the Western world everything about just individuals. But in Balinese, community is very important. So I want to empower myself because I have to look after myself first. However, I want to empower others because that is also my ultimate insurance policy. You see, in the UK, you have NHS or the insurance or everything. Sorry, Robert, I'm bringing UK a lot here. I hope you're not feeling like a black sheep tonight. Right. However, my ultimate insurance policy for me and my kids is to empower everyone else around me with the hope that if anything happened to me, my karma saving will help my kids. So that's the hope. If I do karma in Balinese notions, my kids can have the benefit of this karma saving. So everything in Bali, I think, is regulated by karma, which is good because it's good for business too. For example, like Balinese land deal, especially land, because we honor our agreement. That's why in Bali, the type of nomina agreement can actually work. In other places, probably different. It's dispute because in karma, people believe in this land. We have to remember what goes around come around. Again, like Newton, energy can be created nor destroys. It's actually, there is similarity of notions between the world notion, us as a communal thinking, and also Balinese. We just people globally. That's why we need to empower everyone, because I'm hoping that for me personally, people will look after my children. That's all. That's like the true ultimate being woman type of vision, really.
That's a lot of power in everything that you're sharing. So again, this is obviously not about having anything being good or bad. It's about really us learning to listen more to each other beyond borders and hearing stories such as you. And specifically what's possible when we actually step out of our perhaps comfort zone, and that can actually even be a country. Like you were saying, 15-year-old, you left Bali to just, meet the West, and you spent years abroad, and then you were able to bring back, your skills and wisdom coming from everything that you gained there. So empowerment then, again, very interesting and massively important. So let's say, because we're having a Balinese perspective, obviously, to this whole conversation. So let's say I'm a young girl living in Bali, and of course we have, depending on where you're coming from, like you said, you were fortunate to be able to go on exchange scholarship, and you obviously, there's a great quote I use a lot. It's like, I take what I have and I make what I want. And I think that's a great quote. I've been thinking about that so much when I hear your story. You obviously represent someone who really, really created everything with what you got and with what you have. So again, let's say I'm a young Balinese woman. Could be any woman, but let's say Balinese now because we're having an Indonesian perspective, Balinese perspective. And she looks at you, I look at you and I feel inspired. And just seeing you could be a role model. What would be your advice? Where do I start to be able to take that next level? Perhaps I want to go out in the world. I want to see what I'm capable of. And I want to be able to trust that there is something bigger, perhaps beyond my current circumstances. What would be your advice to that girl, or me asking you that now as a young Balinese woman? Where do I start?
We can break the ceiling. We can be anything we want to be. Sometimes if I see some Balinese girls, or not only Balinese, Indonesian, and I see potential, like, nature versus nurture. For example, I always tell them, well, God is fair. If you want to try, then you can make it. Because at the age of me now, which is 21, life come to a full circle, really. Because I have seen my friends who have everything in life, but now they just, their business is just okay. But I have some friends who actually, lack of resources during the teenage year, but now they're so successful. So what it is actually, how we actually believe in yourself, change our future if we want to. So as a woman, I know as a woman, this is also global challenges, because as a woman we are going to, supposed to be the one who's nurturing, give birth, and also man is the one who's like masculine and hunter and gatherers. We still have those values as well. And also as Balinese as well, there's certain rites and ceremonies as well that we have to undertake. But for me, it's not a problem because I'm not trying to be the head of anything. My part is as a woman, and then my part is important. Just like the head, I'm the neck. I am trying to support what my ancestor, my forefathers had for us. It's just trying to support those values and see actually you have more freedom as well. Because as a Balinese, I wasn't required to do certain things. Then I'll be able to put myself whatever I want to do. And also we'll be able to, I have to come back to you. I forgot about this.
Oh, you can come back. So it's okay because I have questions and we will invite you in short as well so you can ask questions. So for Westerners who comes here, for people who come here and want to be able to give back to Bali, whether someone is coming here, falling in love with the island, is visiting, or someone such as me living here, and we can obviously give back in so many different ways. But if we're speaking about empowering Balinese, let's say women in this case, what would you say, what is the first step you would advise someone to do? Let's say someone who's here in the audience, or maybe if you're watching online in Hindsight or right now, what would be the first thing you would recommend anyone to do? Because it doesn't have to be that complicated. We can always just start somewhere. So what would you say? What would be that first step?
Canggu is, I would say, would you agree Bali is the playground of the world now?
I love it. Well said. Bali is a playground for the world. I have to add to that. I always say, and we spoke about that a little bit before, Bali, for anyone who's here, it's like getting a little piece of the whole world in one gorgeous, stunning tropical island. It is insane. I just had to add that. So yeah, keep going.
I'm not being biased here.
No. It's truly an incredible place. And again, because of the people, and the people, obviously, people get attracted to Bali for some reason. And what is that? And everything that you are sitting here and saying and sharing, and it's beautiful to see because you're just expressing yourself in the most natural way. It's not something, it's who you are. And I see that, and I see a lot of you are nodding here as well. It's so integrated in the Balinese people, their way of living. And I get this. I've been here for years, and still, if I go and order a coffee or, whatever, it's just like this level of excellence that seems to come so natural. And I see this seriously, even if I go into to my juice shop where my girls, they make the juice, or the coffee shop, or the restaurant, or at the street, they're being so generous and so excellent and so kind. And it's just the same energy that you're sitting here and share. So what is that really about? Is that, would you say, about that spiritual connection? Or where does that way of being that we feel is so humble, where does that come from?
Well, being humble is part of Balinese notion. My dad told me, I was from the state, rap music and everything. And then, Dad, I'm going to 66. And he said to me, you're Balinese, you're not a tourist. So I'm always remember that, I can't conduct myself as a tourist, even I want to, but, I always, for example, there is a waitress come to me, I always touch base with them. Oh, thank you, and then just say something in Balinese. Make me feel like I'm part of this island. Yeah. No, going back to how we can make an impact, we agree Bali is the playground of the world. And there's so many world-class people in Canggu, isn't it?
I love that you're saying world class, because when we were speaking about empowerment, I asked you what that means to you, and we spoke about that a little bit here. And one of the things you said, I can't remember if it was between you and I or if we actually said here, you said, surrounding yourself with high quality people. And what does that mean then? What would you say high quality people and the impact that our surroundings have, where we live, who we speak with, and how we speak, and so on?
Yeah, that's good. Nurture yourself with high quality people, but also we need to influence other graffitis as well. For example, Robert is a world-class person, right? So, there is other people on the street of Bali, street of Canggu, say, because he cannot afford to be having coffee here, because he doesn't have the same social background and then the same upbringing, education like I probably have, that I could touch base with Robert. So we need to influence those. I have a mentoring program, For example, if you're a successful business person, I know in the UK you will not share your, why I'm successful, that's expensive, that's my, not free. But in Bali, I found those business people in the enlightenment type, they come to Bali. Yeah, there are some of them still want to be successful, but I see a lot of business person that want to actually give to Balinese people. We need to foster that. Basically, imagine if Robert, for example, mentor one, and make difference in the life. And just mentoring, they probably don't know where Australia is. And then Australia is like this. This is how do you do the business. And I'm sure you get some knowledge back as well. Yes. Because, when first time Facebook was on, I have friends from everyone, Argentina, Israel, you name it. And they say, why do you send me friend requests? Because to just add my friend is boring. But I want to see people because of my culture or cross-country boundaries, I'll be able to know what life is like in Argentina. All these beautiful people that create world peace. I'll tell you another story as well. When I had my villa business, I have this staff from Java, from the mountain of Java. Now, in Indonesia, you get a job by recommendation. So when I work with some people, I have to like the person first. The rest I could, train them. So she's have someone from Australia, and shook hand with this Australian. Oh, thank you very much, This has happened twice, actually. And she just ran across the room euphoric, crying. And I say, what's going on? And she said, oh my God, they are people. White people are people. Yeah, because he's from the mountain in Java, you know. See, in Bali, people used to this Western interaction. I mean, you like, you know, but for these people from the island of like, you know, Indonesia, the 17,000 island, we are the last frontiers on earth. Is that correct, Robin? Yeah, so yeah, some of these people hasn't seen the interaction. It happened twice. So why don't we actually bridge that gap? So make it this world more peaceful. And you know, so the dogma of, for example, say like Westerner are just basically want to, you know, with the, maybe with the background of the world politics, you know, that actually we just people. And I have seen it twice. It's like, wow, I take things for granted. So why don't we actually break those like, you know, cross culture and cross country boundaries, because it's becoming global. It's a challenge. Globalization has its positive and negatives. Let's just embrace that and how we actually make a better world.
I love your energy. It's just like so much fire going on here. It's incredible. So going back to creating impact, because I know obviously that's your bigger mission. How can how can we create a positive impact together in the world? And not only in our business, but actually by our way of being. And like you said, how can we bridge those gaps that it might feel that we have, you know, in between countries, but it's just borders. Energetics go way beyond borders and so on. So impact, being a blessing to others. What would be your recommendation and words of wisdom for someone else that really wants to live and lead from that place of intention? I aspire to be a blessing for others, regarding, doesn't really matter where I'm at in the world. Where do we start?
Okay, speaking of impact and business, before I forgot, in business, I am as good as my team. So tonight, I want to say to my team there, Bonnick from Malaikat Hukum, I cannot do it without you. And also the lawyers thing. You see, when they're in the law business, they need to understand the harsh environment. That's why you become a lawyer. And also my clients, that also like family to me, over there.
Yes.
So yeah, how do we make an impact? What's the question again?
Good. What was my question? My question was, first of all, I love this. We're speaking about collaboration over competition.
Collaboration.
That's what I'm hearing you say. And what you're
Empowering
doing
everyone.
now, acknowledging each other, those we work with, but also those we meet at the street. And I think one big takeaway here that you're sharing with us, for all of us, never ever underestimate the power, the impact that we can have just by the way we choose to show up in the world every single day. In my world, that's leadership. And what you're sharing here then, impact, that was my question. How can anyone be a blessing no matter where they are, no matter where they're watching this? How can
act of kindness is important, you know? Sometime if I'm in a situation or something, I go back to the stories that give me a power how I get out of these situations. Like, you know, not long ago I was putting lion's den basically. Like, you know, I'm like Lion of Judah. Like, you know, oh my God, how I'm gonna survive these lion's dens? But the story of David, you know, is about, he was saved because he was saving the lions. You know, so you never know. People that you help will help you in the future. This going back to karma again. I'm using the story so the global audience will understand. And also to everyone that think that for business, I don't have enough capital here. You know, I don't have enough resources. Remember the story, using global story here, David and Goliath. It's not big against the small, but again fast against smarter. So if you want to, you can change it around. Because during COVID, I changed from challenge to opportunity to victory. Because sometimes when you don't know the answer, this is computing way of solution problem is solve small problem first. Then after that, you feel good about yourself. then the bigger problem will be solved. Sometimes, especially when I actually talk to my client, like in litigation, sometimes they don't know what the next kilometer steps, but just see the step you're taking now. And I'm sure there is also the light of the end of the tunnel. I promise you, after a night, there will be always sunrise.
That's how it goes. I loved how you were saying challenge. So anyone ever faced a challenge in here? So how do we face this challenge? Wow, like you said, that mindset shift, okay, challenge, opportunity, and then how can we take that opportunity and actually create victory in that? So to summarize what I'm hearing you say, what we can see in your being, obviously mindset, massively important, having a level of self-trust and deep self-belief in yourself, but also having this deep inner knowing that you are guided by higher power, supported by ancestors and something much bigger. And then, if so, who am I, you, we, not to trust, to observe nature? So going back again to your full story, what would you say for those who are watching, maybe they have not been in Bali, if you would want to try to explain Balinese culture in a summary, how would you then explain Balinese culture?
Everything is based on karma.
Yeah.
So karma is not only for ourselves, but to our community. It's all balancing, creating harmony and balance. So life is in one paradox, actually. Individual and community, good and bad. And just basically whatever eventually happens to you, you have to embrace it and just be strong. And again, logic. Actually, I'm quite surprised why in the West is very much logic and reason. Because not everything can be explained with logic and reason. There's something explained by the narrative as well. For example, like, the earth is like, this body is actually vessel, like biologists will say vessel, and not biologists, doctors say vessel and flesh. But actually, as a Balinese, we use our brain to see, to get nourishment, to get, from what we get knowledge from. So everything has to be explained in narrative to me, which I don't understand, actually.
So how could then the Western world benefit from, in this case, we could speak about Eastern perspective, but a more Balinese perspective? You have been speaking about having a very holistic approach, a very healthy, wellness approach to doing business as well. So let's say we live in a world where more big companies and corporations and people in general with power would adopt this way of being and operating personally and professionally. What kind of impact and change do you see would come from that?
Actually, the corporate world should use the Balinese wisdom and teaching as well. Actually, Balinese have a set of rules where we know the right date for certain things, almost like Chinese Feng Shui, actually. And those actually database from 3,000 years ago. And somehow Balinese or Chinese we have decoded it that. Whereas this land is good, call it the dragons and everything, very cryptic. However, those knowledge has been there. Why not use that? Why not use the thousand of years? The knowledge that, for Indonesian, like for Balinese, at the beginning I say, who is Nilu Sukasari? Well, by Balinese, I'm like Durga, I'm like Aries, I'm like that. Because I'm in computing as well. I think we know when we're born, our life cycle was going to be, and how we actually, Balinese also knows, Chinese also knows, but it hasn't been explored a lot in the Western way. So how we actually use those knowledge, like I have my Balinese prediction every year where I'm doing the defensive mode or offensive mode. It's quite useful. That's added knowledge. Why not? Because at the end of the day, sometimes university, they don't know. Well, my mom and dad is both professor at the university. Yes, so I'm speaking from like the daughter of professors, two professor. So sometimes, life is about continual learning. That's what you need to do. Sometimes I realize when I think I know everything will be too late already, So, keep have the new idea coming and how we actually, as human being, how we make ourselves better. Okay, we make mistake, that's the past. However, how actually become a better person, because that's the only thing you can do. Have I answered that?
Yeah, we're just going deep into all the things. I love it. So I think everything that we're speaking about here goes back to the topic, which is self-empowerment and taking responsibility for our being. And of course, being very mindful of the fact that we are perhaps starting from different points, but obviously we all can with the power of mindset. And not only that, asking for help, asking for support, reaching out, and also having this beginner's mindset. Doesn't really matter how much we go and grow. We can always, of course, learn something from each other and everyone. So what would you say in this conversation as well, if there is something you really want to gift the audience, you who are here today, and for you who are watching live, what would you want them to have as their biggest takeaway? We're going to invite you here in the audience soon so you can ask your questions, but with your words of everything, because there is so much wisdom and knowledge within you. But if there would be one gift that you really want the audience here and those who are watching, either inside or now live, to walk away with, what would that be?
Karma, everything in balance and harmony. That will be my, not gift, something from my perspective. For example, if international business doing business in Bali, yes, you can apply the tools of the Western measurements, but also remember there is the Balinese people, the Indonesian people that probably need special holidays for the ceremonies. So by understanding your being in Bali, that will be actually help anyone navigating to success, because Bali to me is quite chaos as well sometimes, but always there's a pattern in the chaos. Like I'm mathematics, so there's always algorithm. There's a pattern in the chaos. Let's just balance that, become a global harmony world, because the world is going through globalization anyway, where it's a cross culture, cross boundary, and cross gender as well, as men and women. So it's not about empowering women, but also empowering each other, men and women, because the tantra is like men and women in balance, masculine and feminine. It's just in harmony. I think if you apply that in everything, karma as well, remember, what you give, it's what you get. So I think it will be a balanced world. That's for me.
A balanced world.
Harmony.
Harmony, living more in balance with nature, ourselves, each other. That sounds pretty beautiful, don't you think? Yeah, definitely so much more to learn from and of Balinese culture and ancient wisdom from the East, and what we can learn in the West as well. And also the lessons we can bring to each other when we just stay open and keep this mindset of togetherness that I hear you share over and over again. And I think it's also a very important key away. There's this saying, givers gain, so the giving is actually in the receiving. So we might offer a gift, and to also never underestimate how impactful that gift can be. Sometimes a sentence, someone who's watching you right now, we never know. So that message that we bring by being ourselves and what we stand for and represent in the world. So karma, people, let's think about that. Perhaps one deeper nod. And on that note, I will ask one last question before I invite you. We will invite you so you can ask questions, because I'm sure we have a lot of questions here in the audience. We would want to know though, on your journey of becoming a modern Balinese woman, your journey to empowerment, what would you say have been your biggest challenges?
You could ask me that question again. I have to be honest, there is no such thing called challenge for me, because there's always solution for every problem. I'm used to train in computing as well. So, there is always backdoor to problem solving. So challenges for me is just opportunity, how I solve this problem. I am quite lucky because my family is actually from a good family, can afford me to do the things. And the challenge is actually more not to me, but actually for women in general. How we actually able to represent ourselves. Because the challenge is not only women like me, but some other women that actually important part of the community. Without them, there is no community. So how we actually help each other and have their story heard as well. And actually the challenge is actually for me is, I think not only for me, but many women, you get credit because your physical attributes, like, oh, you're so beautiful. And you're just so, and sometimes why you work so hard? Why you doing this and this? I'm sure you can be in the beach club, but I want to do this. I want to work hard. Yes, I have a good role model like my mom. She's as old as Indonesian, is still working. So I had those good role models. However, I think the challenges is more how we pass those, the physical attributes as being woman, and also people to acknowledge us as our mind instead of where your family coming from. And you look, which is fine, but I should like to be known, not to be known. I think that's the challenges for women in general. Don't you not agree?
Yeah, I'm sitting here nodding. And I see a lot of you are nodding here in the audience as well. So this is obviously a big question, and I'm asking this as kind of like a last one before I'm inviting you to ask your questions. But definitely, and I think that goes back to how can we take more responsibility of how we actually approach men, women, everyone we interact with. And like you said, having a sense of recognition, a sense of acknowledgement, because what you said, I want to work. I actually choose to do this and to actually be, acknowledged for that. So definitely I can relate personally as well. And I think that's also important to learn and take away from this conversation, that of course we might come from different countries, different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, and I interact as well with women from all over the world, we're not that different.
Correct, yes.
It's we can relate in so many different ways. And speaking about collaboration and just coming together and working from a sense of community, what you said there, when we start to really, dive deep into these conversations, yeah, been there, done that. We can relate to each other. And I think that's why it's also so important to just what we're doing here, coming together, sharing stories. And you said somewhere there to have every voice be heard.
Yeah, which is voice of woman is very much underrepresented.
Yes.
And then, we need to advocate more women to be the role model as well. Able to help women, especially from poverty as well, because sometimes they have kids and then after that they lost the sense of identity. We need to help those. We need to nurture those, because not to help those, then actually we make the world as a different, worse place, I would say, because neglecting that will be wrong for us. It's our duty of care as a woman to help women. That's what I wanted to do. And also, I think there is Bali Street Mom here, yes? Where is Bali Street Mom?
Yes, we have some beautiful, amazing people and, women and men here in the audience.
Yeah. So, it just bleed my heart to see those kids, on the street of Bali, begging. And my kids could be as that age as well. So how we actually make an impact, how we actually help to influence the government, to influence others to actually take those kids out. Charity start at home for me. I'm trying to help that, but it takes a drop to start a waterfall. So let's start the drop to make a waterfall, and everything, like every little helps, I would say.
I love that. I didn't hear that expression. Is that a thing, or did you make it up? Take a
Every little
drop
helps
and
from
make
the UK,
it.
isn't it, Robert?
Oh, I've never heard it. I love it. I'm going to take it. Taking a drop and create a waterfall.
Well, I think I heard someone. It take a drop to start a waterfall.
I love that. So imagine then, for every one of us who are here, and for you who are watching live, whether it's now or in hindsight, imagine then if we all wake up in the morning and we have that mindset, wow, how can we, each and every one of us, just create that drop so that we together can create a powerful waterfall? And like, again, highlighting what you were saying, to never underestimate that power that each and every one of us have in creating that kind of impact. So
Charity at home, start from home.
yes. And we could keep on going so much longer. But now we will invite you who are sitting here in the audience. Robert is already ready. It seems like you want to ask something. So yes, obviously now and the thing is here, we're getting so much power and wisdom and inspiration from you and empowerment. So thank you so much for just sharing your passion and way of being you. Thank you. And obviously, we're just scratching the surface here of this woman's story. So we already know that this kind of have to be some kind of follow-up with more episodes. But for now, for you who are here, who wants to ask a question?
Okay, so firstly, I'll start us off. Thank you so much, Natalie, Sari. This is kind of what I envisaged Sari and I have been talking about doing an interview for about 2 years. Right, and so this time it came up the time is now, and that's why I called you. And then so I was going to do this interview with her. We'll do another one separately. But then as we got closer to the time, I just suddenly knew that it was you need to be the one to actually do it, not me. So when this sitting down and I hear you two talk and I see the interaction and I feel the authenticity and the soul in your words, I'm just so happy that people have a chance to experience this. And East meets West is you too, as well, as you said so brilliantly in the beginning. And that's the whole point, right? Unity in diversity, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, and people inspire people. So it is precisely it. So that's the first acknowledgement that I just want to give to both of you. Really appreciate it, and I'm really happy for people who get a chance to see and witness this. So afterwards, everybody, feel free to share this on YouTube, Instagram. We'll give you all of the links. The other thing which I would invite people which are just coming tonight is that after this show finishes, we'll all have a photo together. So please, I invite you all to stay and then have a photo as well. So the question which I have is that, so we're talking about women's empowerment, which is extremely important, okay? In my household, I'm the only guy. I've got 3 women. The only other guy is a dog who doesn't count because he's on the girl's side anyway. So, but I've always been like that. Women have always been my best friends because I was a very shy kid. So for me, it's normal. Okay. Now, so the question then is, and I see what you're saying about you don't see challenges, you see obstacles to be negotiated, right? So if I go for that then, being that we're in a world where we have 2, we have men and women, right? Let's stick to that for now. So have there been obstacles that you have encountered with other men on your journey to finding your own empowerment? Now, the reason why I ask that is because I see Detlev's very young family here. The kids are, 5, 8? You could help me out here. So we started young tonight, right? These are young girls. My girls are 8 and 10, right? So I get that you have your view, but then there's also other people in the world, i.e. men, sharing that space. So from the point of view of maybe obstacles that you've had to negotiate, that they might have to negotiate as well, which one or two come up in your mind that you'd like to share as a way to kind of guide other people, other women that might be starting on this journey?
Believe in yourself is very important, because I also have a law firm, and also with the law work we do, sometimes I have to be in the situation where other woman doesn't walk in that shoes. But when I walk in that shoes, especially in confrontational situations, where I'm not going to describe what is actually entail, I had a mentor of mine who told me, of course, naturally, I said, oh, I'm scared of my safetyness here. I'm a woman. I'm about to go to this situation. And my mentor told me, and he's like, say, special forces and everything. And Sari, are you wrong in this situation? No. But, I have to be precautious. I'm a woman at the end of the day. I'm about to go against this. And then he said to me, he's Balinese, whatever you want to do, if you want to take, just say, certain, things that help you, it doesn't matter. Ask the universe. Then the universe is going to protect you, to give you this blue light. So if they have say guns or anything, don't be afraid. Because if the universe protect you, whatever happened to you, then you'll be okay. So sometimes my challenges is being woman, walking on those type of environment where I say, please universe, protect me. Then I'm not afraid of anything, because, I don't need guns. I don't need those kind of things, because I think there is a line of the Bible saying, not how many soldiers you have, not how many, ammunition you have, is by my spirit. So really, it's by my confidence. When I walk with the power of I call my ancestor. And I'm happen to be dragon. So someone told me, you need to name your dragon. Okay, I have a name of my dragon. So in a situation when I have to walk as being masculine and feminine at the same time, I call those masculine power. My dragon, by the way, is called Avalon. It's his pet name. And also, I walk in my ancestor. I say, this is Sari. That is my Java ancestor, which is behind me. There's my Balinese ancestor behind me. I'm not walking alone. And the power of this island, the power of the goddesses of this island, now that is pure power for me. I'm not afraid whoever I encounter. So, even though they are big and everything, yeah, but I have my ancestor, the power, the god, the goddesses, the power above me, the spirit that lead me. So really, honestly, always believe on yourself, the challenges. So sometimes, yes, I'm feminine with my lipstick, and I like to have my clothing, every day I wake up, I'm gonna dress the best. I choose my best dress, That's the way that's my part of my shield, how I want to be perceived. But the challenges is being woman, but I may be woman, but I could be masculine at the same time. Because as a single woman, I may be masculine and feminine with my kids, but there's masculine in me. So I brought that masculinity. So sometimes I have to have poker face a little bit. Yes, I'm joking with you, we get to break the ice, but sometimes, when I call my dragon, please, Avalon, protect me. See, everything is in the mind. Just use this power, I would say.
Sorry, quick question for Zeddy. How you say believe in yourself, but how would you guide other women to learn how to believe in themselves?
Well, it's simple. If you don't believe yourself, who you will believe? Who will believe in you? So, yes, you're not perfect in one day. Yes, you have to improve. I'm improving all the time. Yes, you have bad days and good days. But at the end of the day, always feel that, give the best, because you never know when your time is up, your time is up. Sometimes you have to just be grateful, be humble, and just be happy. No, my mantra is be happy always. And coming back to being woman sometime, when I feel like people say, oh, Sari, you look good and everything. Oh, thank you very much, But sometimes I have to walk in the etiquette corridors. When I walk in because my mom is from Jogja, my dad's from Balinese, I position myself in the etiquette corridor, I'm safe. I'm not intimidating others. I'm just using my value. For example, in Bali situation, yes, he's higher caste than me. That's fine. My dad used to have a staff who is like, my dad is just normal, like I'm Nilu, he's just Kade. And then there is like a staff like Gusti, for example, or the Bagus. Even though they are his staff, but he's always respecting the value of the ancestor, saying like, Pak Gusti, how are you? How is your day? Those are like, if you are actually on those corridor etiquette, then you'll be safe.
Wow, that's just, before we go to the next question, that was a big answer to your question. I love it. What you are showing here is obviously having this really deep, unwavering faith in something bigger than ourselves. There is this great quote as well from A Course in Miracles that says, if I ever feel stressed or afraid, there is a sure sign that I've been relying too much on my own strength. God goes with me no matter where I go. And I think to highlight what you were saying, regardless of what you believe, whether it be God or nature, higher power, the universe, it doesn't really matter. What I'm hearing you say is just believing in something, this higher power that is with us no matter where we go.
Yeah, praying for me in all religion, praying is our conversation to the universe. So, I'm calling the universe, help me. Like, before I drink this water, I put some chi on the water. Program me, those are mindset things that, well, my mom teach me that, either way. So you basically, before you drink the water, like, just bless the water a little bit. Like every morning, there has to be glass water, and I say, dear water, please, I want to achieve this and this, and just program, because actually it makes sense, because our body is, 80% made of water? So when actually we immerse ourselves in the sea, there is DNA in the sea that actually bless us. That's why people in Bali, they use, what do you call that? Melukat with water. And also in Christianity, baptism. So sometimes I just go to the sea and it's like, baptize myself. Like, I'm downloading the DNA, the memory of the water to bless me. Like, in the situation where sometimes, like, I have been through a lot in my life, like in business, on my personal. But sometimes when I see a problem, like for example, this is my problem, cash flow, etc., etc. My problem is still minute comparing to big problem. Big problem is when you're sick, you cannot get up. But I'm still healthy. I could make myself a living. I could change the situation around. So always just be grateful and be happy always.
Gratitude, happiness, higher power, and a lot of powerful, empowered mindset. That's what we see within you as we're listening. Anyone else has a question that you would love to ask? Yes.
Thank you so much, Natalie and Sari. Wow, very insightful. And then thank you for powerful questions that kind of like help to gain like a lot of insights, wisdoms from you as well, Sari. So I really love what you said about empower yourself, empower others. We cannot live alone. This is in my words. We cannot live alone. We need the community to function in this world. I think that's really, really beautiful how your perspective. And I think I can relate, and also I can bring that into my life as well. And also how you see the world, like it's not right or wrong, but it's just different. That's just beautifully connect with the whole thing with SpeakUp Monday. It's like the unity within the diversity. So I really love it. And so my question is around it's almost like you already answered the question. You sum it up really nicely, Natalie, about gratitude, happy, and higher power. But the question is around what are your top 3 values that if you were to narrow it down to 3 words, what would that be? 3 top values. Thank you.
Honor, integrity, and also be kind. To add to, before you mentioned something about community and being individual and how is that, I think to me, spiritualism, religion, or dogma, say democracy and everything, is needed to bind us as human. That's what make us as human too, because religious has been like, what's that? Judaism been like, the Chinese been around for 3,000 years, and then the other like Judaism 5,000 years. Those are values that probably invented by the higher being, that is actually there to bind us as human, to give a norm and guidance as us as human. The same as like Balinese value, for example. The reason maybe not a lot of Balinese value is known because we are live in ring of fires. So everything erupted, and then we just haven't seen, like, we have the Borobudur statues and everything, but our lontar, like our papyrus writing, is probably like, what, 400 years? We don't have like those, like in Egypt, for example, like, what is the Egypt thing? Like, been there for 1,000 years. We haven't get that. However, in our DNA, it is in me, it is in my children. Some of Balinese still have those. For example, some of Balinese, I call it, they have compass DNA. I'm not very good at that, but ask any Balinese, they'll be able to tell where is north and south and east. Yeah. Yes? Like Balinese say, where is this? Go north, go south. Like, they have like compass DNA. Like, and then being able to feel certain things. Like, so those DNA is still within us, even though we don't have a lot of, like, like the Egyptian, for example. So it just, your ancestor is looking after you. They're coming back to you. That's why I'm not only walking my life, but I'm walking my ancestor life from my mom's side, from Jogja, which is very similar to Bali, actually, and also from my father's side. So just, well, but at the end of the day, also people are just people. Let's just embrace and have a world peace.
Excellent questions and beautiful feedback, and I feel every question could be another episode. Anyone else? Anyone? Yes, Gregoria. What's your question? Do we have a? Yeah.
Hello. Yes, check. Yeah. Selamat malam, Ibu Sari.
Selamat
Very
malam.
inspiring. Thank you. So I've been like admiring you, what you're saying, like so powerful. But I have a question about, because you were talking about education for the kids and the mom. So when you were saying that you're pretty lucky that you come from a good family that can provide you with education and everything that you need. And I was get kicked out from school twice because my father can't pay the school fee. I was on the street. So I used to work for an NGO here in Bali and be one of the big organizations that helped those 2 NGOs that I was working with. And thank you for that. But the things that a lot of people say, every kid can get access to go to school. There are a lot of big NGO. They're pretty lucky because they can get a lot of funds and send their kids to the school. But there are also some of the NGOs, they're struggling to send the kids to school because, let's say, all these kids from small village, they never been in school before. They never know how to read before. So some of the NGOs are trying to do the package, but it's still not easy for them to get the formal education access, because we're in Indonesia and it's like ijazah, like certification is very important. And also the problem is a lot of NGO, they don't have enough resources or support so they can go to the school and have the right words to say to the school. So what would be your advice for all these people that work in NGO and they don't have all these resources or access for
Well,
formal
my
education?
advice is, thank you for that. Just so excited to answer this as well. Because, my advice, remember I say, what to educate, Some school that, I have 4 kids. I don't want my kids to go to exclusive school. Because when they go to exclusive school, they don't know how hard life is. I experienced that. I went to exclusive school in Bali, and I don't know how hard it is. So, and also like small classes, for example, like 10 students, which is when I was a student, it's 30 students, because they're exclusive. So those are not very good for kids' dynamics, actually. The best education, if the NGO cannot get, just try as much as possible to give education. Don't matter this is not exclusive school or anything, because as I said before, life comes to a full circle. Some of this, I'm not saying like exclusive is bad, but I say to the kids, before you become a leader, you have to be able to serve. Learn to serve before you lead. Have the humility, because if you just learn for example, rich kid environment, then you don't learn how hard life is. How hard is it life when I realized it when I was overseas. Oh my God, I have to work. When my work is bad, then people will say, you are SHRIT, and then it's good to have different type of education. And also, whatever the school teach, it doesn't matter anyway. Because at the end of the day, I forgot what I learned in elementary school, to be honest with you. I'm nearly 21. I forgot what I learned at university. It's about, at the end of the day, it's about giving you the tools of life. And those tools of life, you can get it not from any school, expensive school. Those things cannot be bought, actually. Some people born with it. Some people is like pearls in the black sun. So don't worry if, for example, you cannot give the best education. Just try to influence from your own community. Give them wise and wisdom. Give them all those not street quality, the wise of wisdom, how you conduct your world. And also honor, integrity is also important. The notion of karma, not to actually basically cut corners, because it doesn't pay at the end of the day. So trust me, what I've been lucky to be educated in 3 continents, Indonesia, the States, and the USA. At the end of the day, for business, it's just profit and loss, whether you make money or not. Well, that's the simple story. I'm sure there's complexity. But about how I apply my knowledge in my business now, how I inspire others, that's a lot of values that I get it, not necessarily from university. To be honest, that's actually, I will call it the University of Life.
I was just going to say School of Life, exactly.
University of Life, which is a lot of hit and miss. But learn for your mistake, because if you make mistake once, it's fine. But if make mistake twice, then it's your fault. But at the end of the day, whatever it is, don't be too hard on yourself. Always pick up yourself, and always yes, you can turn this around. Sometimes your problem is small comparing to a bigger problem in life. That's what I always try to perp up myself.
Perspectives. It's always good. Thank you, Gregory, for asking that important question. I know that you will most likely want to chat after we wrap this up. Okay, so one last question, and then we're going to... Oh no, I have to choose. Okay. She says 2. Okay, we're still energetic. Okay. Oh, you're still here and all are smiling. So let's do 2 last questions and then we're going to wrap up. Fantastic.
Hello. Okay, thank you. My question, as you said just now, women can be a feminine and masculine, But in reality, women trapped in their feminine believe that they do as feminine do. And my question is, how would you advise to inspire women that they can engage in masculine activities despite often feeling confined to feminine roles? Thank you.
Well, we have the role model of Chit Nyadin, for example. You know, she's our national hero, where she's actually the commander of a fleet. And also Raden Aryu Kartini, with her, she's very feminine, but her word is power. But going to, you know, masculine, feminine, masculine body, did you say that? But there's other perspectives as well. Sometimes, like, you know, I'm nearly 21, but you know, sometimes you feel old, you're still young inside. You're trapped in the older body. So I think it's just really mind thing. Remember, there is the masculine and feminine within us. As a woman, we need to, especially a single woman, we need to be masculine and feminine. Because for me personally, the kids come with me. So, you know, whatever the men want, that's up to them. But my responsibility, first and foremost, is my kid, because I'm the one who gave them birth. So that's like, for me, I need to be masculine and feminine at the same time. But it doesn't matter. I don't think about it. You know, I'm just embracing it. And there is a notion like the universe will not give you a test that's something you cannot endure. I'm sure, like, if you're Indonesian, will know those notions.
Wow. Beautiful reply to a beautiful question. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for asking. Oh, this is a new, yeah, to be continued. Okay, last question. Who was it? Who?
Tes. I'm Didi from Unikna Student College.
Hello.
Hello. I want to ask about the perspective of law, especially about how your opinions about any powerful entity can pay and manipulate the legal system or the national media to ensure favorable outcomes, like favorable outcomes, advantage, like this, like the case of 2020 persecutor office fire case. That the police states that this way the fault of the construction workers. However, from the perspective of the workers interview on YouTube, that claim there did not work involve anything that could cause a fire. And we know that Sambo, who handled the case, is reported to have involvement in running gambling operations and drug trafficking. That's the question. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna answer it generally, because I think, yes, Indonesia is a young country. We just been from the Second World War, but I think after the Jokowi presidency, there is a lot of transparency there. So if we can help this country becoming a fair and just society, for example, we done the People Center at the DBB Foundation to enable people to know what their rights in law. And also for domestic violence or sambo situations, for example, if someone said, a husband like hit the wife, like, and she's gonna say, you're gonna get 4 years in jail. So everyone needs to know their rights in the nation of law, the law-abiding country, and also never give up. Actually, yes, there's still probably corruption and misjudged, but there is also media. We are now taking a lot of cases taking out from the court to the court of public opinion in Indonesia and the world. So there is check and balances across the spectrum. And also, this is not only Indonesian problem alone. As a global country, this is also happening around the world. However, if we we need to unite and to be better country. For me personally, I'm so proud being Indonesia. That's why I'm wearing red and white tonight, because my country is thriving. Like, you know, in terms of GDP level and everything, investment, we are very top notch. Actually, people like come to Bali instead of investing in, say, in America, which is like the percentage, but in Bali, in Indonesia, the investment is still quite high. So yes, there is a lot of development, but you know, Rome wasn't built for a day. So just, you know, are you studying law? Yes. So have those, you know, honor, integrity always, you know, because when you lose honor, your integrity, then you lose yourself. So always in every situation, there's certain thing cannot be bought, and I'm hoping that's happened to myself. You know, everything can be taken from me, but not my values, my honor, and my integrity. Because without that, then I am nothing. So I am who I am. This is my values. My values is very, very important. So you, as young generation of the lawyer, keep fighting. You know, keep fighting for a fair and just Indonesia. That's my message.
Great, big, important question. To be continued. We will be here after we close this for tonight. So, yeah, we could have kept going, but we will start to wrap this up. So I will do that with starting to say, thank you, Sari, for being who you are, a power woman, obviously so aligned with your own core values. It's absolutely beautiful to witness and hear you speak, because it's very clear that you're speaking from a place of integrity. It shines through your being. So thank you for being here with us and sharing you and answering my questions and our questions, and to be continued, of course. So that's the big thank you to you. For every one of you who are here, thank you for being with us and just sitting there and smiling and being beautiful and curious and asking your questions. For you who are watching live, of course, thank you for being here with us, or perhaps you're watching it inside. Amazing. And Tropical Nomad, as always, you guys are amazing. Gusmang is sitting over there. Yes, thank you. Hadis, I don't even know where they just make everything work, and we get to be here in this beautiful jungle home. So thank you, Tropical Nomad, and everyone here. And obviously, Robert, who is the man behind the creation of Speak Up Monday, who is the reason as well why we all can come together here and connect and get inspired through our stories. So thank you, Robert, for being who you are, the ultimate connector, bringing us all together from all corners in the world. People who would want to learn more about you, how can anyone connect with you?
That's a good question, actually. I'm not very active in social media, but at all, because I don't know, I never liked social media from the beginning, but I think I will be. I could be reached from my office at sari@malaikathukum.com. So, or just walk in our office in Brawa. If anything, any problem, I'll be happy to help. And also tonight, you say I'm powerful, which is thank you very much. But actually, behind me, there is people who helped me to prepare for tonight. So I want to thank you all, especially my team, some people that cannot be here. Like, you know, I have my client who gave me Ricky before, like, you know, and Simon who prepared me yesterday with all the, so, you know, I am without my team. And also thank you to Bonnick. She's been there from few years ago. She's really like, I think I adopted her. She's my daughter, actually. So that's, you know, thank you, everyone. You know, thank you as well. And thank you, Robert. I've been a fan for, 4 years ago. I'm like a big fan, and now I'm sitting here. It's so surreal. I think, are you even human, Robert? I'm sure he's not. I think he's so special. And you put people together. It's a being, actually, the epitome of blessing to many people, yes? Connecting people is the most handsome man in the room.
Bam! You take that, Robert. I love it. Wow. So much love and sharing and community and togetherness. And everyone here is smiling and we're laughing. And I'm sure you can feel it even if you're watching live. So it takes a group to create a specific energy. So amazing. And for anyone who loves what Speak Up is all about and want to have more of this kind of inspiration, obviously this happens every Monday. What is it, episode 430? 430 this week. Oh my God, that is amazing. Yeah, so to be continued next Monday, you can just obviously follow Speak Up Monday on socials, Instagram, Facebook, join our WhatsApp community. And I think that's it for now, yeah? Yes. Okay, so thank you so much. Sari, everyone here, Tropical Nomad, Robert again. And yeah, to be continued, everyone, yes? Thank you. Woo.